The ground tapped beneath our feet before anyone spoke. A rhythm, faint but deliberate, that no wind could make. The air was thick with dust and cold, and yet it felt as if it were alive. Something beneath the ridge was moving, and it wasn't waiting for permission. My heart slammed against my ribs. I didn't know if we should stay or run, but the thought of leaving was impossible. Darkness swallowed the edges of the lamplight, yet the tapping continued, patient, mechanical. It wasn't a rhythm of the earth. It belonged to whatever lived inside it. We had come to the ridge expecting coal, hard work, and a winter paycheck. Beans and dry bread for our efforts? A routine life in a row of thin walls that shook in the wind. But the ridge hid more than coal. Hollow spaces, carved and forgotten, breathed beneath us. And now, in the quiet of our first night, the ground spoke. I tried to tell myself it was nothing, just settling rock, but the sound was too precise. My name doesn't matter yet. I am one of 6, and my memory of that winter starts with the taste of coal dust coating my tongue, the dry grit clinging to my throat no matter how much water I drank. 30 miles outside a Nevada camp that no longer exists, we lived among strips of canvas and board tents around a narrow, gauge spur. Men called it Dry Camp Number 3. For me, it was a row of walls and a bunk where my feet stuck out into the cold air. I had arrived that autumn from Utah, chasing steady pay after copper mines let men go. 6 of us were cutting into the gray stone behind camp when the ordinary became unimaginable. Briggs, the company manager, short and heavy with a watch chain, promised wealth in a year and departure in 2. He always smiled, but never descended into the shafts himself. Our crew was diverse: Connolly, the tall Irishman with a patchy beard; Alvarez, a Mexican laborer with experience in Virginia city silver mines; Sparrow, a boy who claimed he was 18 but was only 16, and the Ward brothers, Eli and Thomas, quiet men from Kansas. Days began before dawn, beans and bread in the cookhouse, walking the narrow track up to the drift. The opening cut a black line into the hillside, framed by rough timber. Cold air met us as we entered, lamps thin against the walls. Weeks passed with picks breaking coal, cars pushed, mules hauling spoil. Routine, until the hollow revealed itself. Alvarez first spoke of hollows behind the coal seam. "The hill is not solid," he said, shoulders rolling as he sat on the bunk. "Empty spaces that change the sound when you strike." Connolly laughed. Sparrow listened with wide, serious eyes. We didn't know the hill was listening back. 2 days later, our picks broke into the first pocket, a hollow breathing a stale, ancient air. Cold rushed over our hands. We froze. Darkness beyond the opening was absolute. Connolly peered in, then widened the hole. Briggs arrived, clean shirt, scarf around his neck, lamp free of dust. He wanted a survey of the void, used for storage or expansion of the seam. Nothing else seemed to matter to him. That evening, the Shosonyi interpreter and elders watched silently from the cookhouse. Briggs spoke briefly. Hands waved sharply. Words exchanged, then they left. Coffee remained untouched. That night, our bunkhouse was colder. Fine dust drifted under cracks as the wind pushed at the thin walls. At first light, frost coated the rails, making them shine white under lamplight. Inside the drift, cold near the entrance warmed as we descended. My shirt stuck to my back. Every strike echoed hollowly. The pocket opened to a low chamber of packed earth, ceiling close enough to force bending. Pale stone pillars stood in the center, smooth, carved with shallow patterns. Not natural, not random. Tool marks lined the walls of a narrow passage leading downward. Dust and small chips suggested work, human or otherwise. Depressions in the floor, long, too short curved ends, formed a trail, footprints unknown. A strip of pale, flexible matter bent without breaking, smooth on one side, ridged on the other. Connolly touched it lightly. It felt like skin. Thomas frowned. I called back that we were clear. We moved carefully through the passage, tied rope to the pillar, marking walls. Every corner held evidence of attention, not chaos. Shadows grew long as other crew members arrived. Alvarez, Sparrow, and Eli joined, lamps adding light. Briggs measured, recorded, kept order. Sparrow sketched the pillar carefully, his hands shaking slightly. Floor marks traced the passage we were about to take deeper. Air felt warmer, damp, alive. We reached a fork. Left smelled sharp, mineral, heavy. Right carried a faint current, movement. Soft clatter far below, like small stones tapping slowly. We chose the right branch, rope paying out behind. Passage narrowed, shoulders brushing walls, floors holding same depressions. Drag marks crossed our footprints, edges sharp. Air thickened, chest tight, lamps steady. The next chamber was smaller, ceiling rising slightly, thin fragments of pale material scattered across the floor. Smell stronger here. Narrow vertical grooves lined the far wall, stone ring arranged with black residue at its center, too small for fire. Thin, hollow bones, unrecognizable. Soft clatter echoed beneath, then stopped. Sparrow whispered to report to Briggs. We marked chamber in notes and prepared to retreat. Alvarez and Ely braced the entrance, wedges cut. Briggs inspected pillar, floor marks. Orders given, survey further next shift. He left us with a warning, do not spread talk around camp. Fear, not ignorance, caused men to quit. He implied surveyors would settle everything. Outside, wind rose. Fine grit moved across the ground, biting our cheeks. Lamps dimmed as we walked back to camp, heads down. That night, the Shosonyi interpreter returned with one elder. Words exchanged. Translated, Ridge holds old rooms. Better left alone. Hunters avoid in winter. Something moves when Earth sleeps. Briggs answered work must continue. Elder lifted hand, palm outward, departed. Sparrow cleaned lamp glass, asked if I believed the elder. I did not know. Connolly pretended disinterest. Alvarez sharpened his knife. Ward brothers played cards. Before dawn, a sound I could not place. Dry churning from ridge, faint but deliberate, rhythmic. Not wind. Not wood settling. Something alive. I lay still until the iron stove snapped. Then sleep came briefly. Morning orders came from Briggs Thomas lead, me and Connolly behind. Sparrow to record. Alvarez and Eli to carry timbers. Others to haul spoil. Briggs carried a small pistol under coat, eyes catching mine. Company property. Inside the hill, air heavier. Passage narrowing, same depressions. Drag marks cross footprints again, air warmer, damp. Right branch chosen, lower chamber familiar. Stone ring disturbed, black residue darker. Connolly swore. Sparrow paused over sketches. Soft clatter rose, pairs with pause, edge marks sharp. Something had moved, unseen, active. Briggs assessed, decided to advance short distance, only Thomas and I with him. Alvarez backed away, lamp set on rock. Rope taut, steps slow, sideways squeeze. Air heavier, chest tight, dust shifting, dry clicks under boots. Chamber ahead tall, lamp light not reaching ceiling. Piles of pale stone, broken and curved, scattered corners. Ground uneasy, not being watched, territory occupied moments before. Low trove carved from entrance to opposite wall, residue red, vivid. Thomas froze. Briggs confirmed sight, told us to retreat. Backtrack careful, rope clear. First chamber, crew is left. Sparrow held chalkboard, Alvarez unmoving. Connolly tense, Briggs gave calm, short commands. Seal passage until survey team arrived. No one outside crew informed. Daylight felt wrong. Cold air thin. Ridge looked normal but now heavy. Silence walking back to camp. Questions unasked by men outside. Briggs closed office door. Bunkhouse tense. Sparrow stared at rafters. Coal dust taste lingering on tongue, a winter memory already sharpened by fear. The passage beyond the lower chamber was narrower than before, forcing us to turn sideways. My lamp swung lightly, casting jagged shadows that seemed alive against the uneven walls. The floor beneath our boots was smooth, almost polished, but held irregular depressions like shallow footprints of something inhuman. The red residue from the low trough we had left behind caught my eye again, a reminder of what had moved before us. I swallowed hard. Each breath felt heavier, thicker, as if the hill itself were pressing down on my lungs. Briggs stayed calm, pistol under coat, eyes scanning the shadows. Thomas's lamp illuminated rough stone veins, gray streaks cutting across coal, dark walls. I noticed that light seemed to vanish before it reached far corners. Something about the stone absorbed it, leaving pockets of absolute darkness. Connolly moved behind me, hands tight on his pick, his face pale but steady. The soft clatter below continued intermittently, like a clock counting off moments we could not understand. I had never felt fear like this, not from mine collapse, not from frostbite, not from hunger. This was something different, patient, calculating. Sparrow kept his eyes on the chalkboard, pencil poised, recording every step, every unusual mark. His breathing was careful, deliberate. The silence of our crew ahead and behind was almost complete, punctuated only by the faint scraping of boots and the occasional metallic creak of rope against rock. I caught a glimpse of the pale strip of matter Connolly had found in the previous chamber. It lay partially buried in dust, catching a dull reflection from the lamp. My fingers itched to touch it, but I resisted. This was no place for curiosity. We came to a sudden dip in the passage. Air flowed stronger here, carrying a faint smell, acrid, metallic, sour. I recognized it immediately: blood. The sensation of dread pressed against my spine, cold and relentless. Briggs moved with authority, eyes scanning walls and ceiling. "Stay close. Do not speak," he said softly. His calm tone made it feel heavier, more deliberate, like the words themselves carried the weight of warning. I nodded without a word. Thomas kept his lamp steady, every flicker revealing something new: grooves, marks, depressions too precise for natural formation. At 20 yards in, the passage widened into another chamber, larger than the previous, ceiling rising to allow standing upright. The air was warm and still, thick with dust and the faint scent of decay. Floor scattered with fragments of pale stone, some thin and curved, others short and dense. Shadows danced as our lamps moved. We stepped carefully, avoiding piles of brittle bones. Some fragments were animal, others unidentifiable. Every step forward seemed to echo against walls that did not reply. The soft clatter beneath our feet continued, almost playful, as if something was aware of our intrusion. Connolly crouched near the far wall, inspecting vertical grooves. Smooth, evenly spaced, carved with intention. In the center of the chamber, another stone ring, smaller than the first, contained black residue. We recognized it immediately, not soot from fire, but something more sinister. Pale bones lay nearby, brittle and hollow. I did not recognize the shape. Sparrow glanced up, eyes wide. He whispered, "What is that?" I shook my head. We didn't know. Silence stretched, heavy, almost suffocating. The soft clatter came again, closer this time. Pairs of taps, a pause, then another pair. Briggs motioned us forward slowly. "Keep line tight. Record everything?" he instructed. Thomas led. I followed, Connolly behind. Sparrow scribbled continuously. Each step revealed more depressions, drag marks, faint grooves that intersected and diverged. The air thickened as we progressed. My chest tightened, sweat coating my back. The lamplight flickered briefly, shadows stretching, walls seemingly breathing. A fork appeared. Left branch low ceiling, damp, pungent with mineral smell. Right branch descending, faint air current brushing our faces. The tapping rhythm continued, persistent, relentless. Briggs studied both paths, then chose the right. Rope paid out, taut. We moved single file, shoulders brushing walls, boots shifting dust that whispered beneath. The passage sloped downward, narrowing further, forcing careful maneuvering. Every step heightened tension, the atmosphere alive, aware, pressing against us. After 20 more yards, another chamber appeared. ceiling higher, lamplight failing to reach fully. Floor smooth, scattered pale stone fragments broken but purposeful. The low trough ran from entrance to opposite wall, dry residue faintly red. Thomas crouched, leaning in. Briggs followed, thumb brushing residue. His face tightened. He hissed soft but sharp. "Go back," he said. No argument. Retreat was orderly, precise, deliberate. Rope guided us, retracing steps with care, avoiding disturbance. Back in the lower chamber, Alvarez and Eli had braced the entrance, wedges in place. Sparrow held the chalkboard tightly, sketches detailed. Connolly stood ready, pick in hands. Briggs gave short, direct commands. "Shield passage until survey team arrives. Only our crew knows." Ward brothers nodded silently. Alvarez turned away, cold dust on sleeves, eyes averted. The weight of what we had seen pressed on us, unspoken, unresolved. Daylight outside felt wrong, too bright, too thin. Ridge looked ordinary but carried weight unseen, ominous. Walking back to camp, questions unasked, whispers avoided. Briggs went straight to office, closed the door. Silence lingered in the bunkhouse. Sparrow stared at rafters, pencil poised, heart racing. Coal dust still coated tongues, a bitter reminder of winter's grasp and the Ridge's secret. Briggs assigned new order Thomas lead, me and Connolly behind. Sparrow to record, Alvarez and Eli to carry timbers, others to haul spoil. Briggs carried pistol under coat, silent authority. Inside the hill, air heavier, damp. Rope paid out behind, marking passage. Floor depressions repeated, drag marks overlapping. Branch right again, lower chamber familiar. Stone ring disturbed, black residue darker. Connolly swore under breath. Sparrow paused over sketches. Soft clatter rose, irregular but deliberate. Something moved unseen, aware of us. Advance continued. Only Thomas and I accompanied Briggs this time. Alvarez stepped back, lamp on rock. Rope taut, passage narrow, forced sideways maneuvering. Lamplight flickered against walls, shadows shifting. Air thickened, chest tight, boots clicking over dust and loose grit. Chamber tall, light not reaching ceiling, piles of pale stone in corners, small, curved, dense fragments. Territory felt claimed, recent. No carved pillars, only low trough. Red residue along length vivid. Thomas froze. Briggs confirmed sight, signaled retreat. Returning to lower chamber, crew exactly as left. Sparrow holding chalkboard, eyes wide. Alvarez unmoving. Connolly tense, waiting for command. Briggs spoke calm, short orders: gather first chamber, seal passage, no communication outside crew. Weight of Ridge pressing, unseen, patient. Daylight outside strange. Ridge ordinary but heavy. Silence back to camp. Men's questions unasked. Briggs closed office door. Bunkhouse tense. Sparrow stared, coal dust bitter. Winter 1906 remembered for more than coal, fear, intrusion, secrets below. We paused at the entrance to the first chamber. Lamps casting long, trembling shadows across walls coated in dust and coal fragments. The soft clatter beneath our feet had stopped again, leaving an unsettling silence. Briggs motioned us forward, each step deliberate, every movement measured. He reminded us to keep rope taut and stay in line. I noticed Connolly's hands tremble slightly, though he masked it with tight grips on his pick. Sparrow's pencil scratched furiously, capturing every groove, every crack, every irregular shadow on the walls. The first chamber was familiar, yet every detail seemed sharper, heavier, more threatening. The stone pillar still stood in the center, pale and carved with lines that made no sense to us. Briggs examined it carefully, running his fingers across the shallow patterns. These weren't made by tools we know, he muttered. Thomas crouched beside him, studying the grooves on the floor. Drag marks were more pronounced than before, intersecting with previous footprints, forming a chaotic yet deliberate trail. The red residue in the low trough glistened faintly in lamp light. We followed the passage downward again, turning right at the fork. The air thickened, carrying a damp, sour smell that clung to our clothes and hair. The walls absorbed light, swallowing shadows, leaving us in pockets of near, complete darkness. The tapping continued beneath our feet, soft but unmistakable, pairs of taps with long pauses in between, steady, patient. It felt as though whatever moved here was aware of us, monitoring our progress, anticipating our next step. The narrow passage widened into a chamber taller than before. Piles of pale stone fragments littered the floor, arranged almost unconsciously in corners, while the low trough ran the length of the room. The red residue remained vivid, untouched by our previous passage. Briggs motioned for us to step carefully, avoiding the piles. We noticed subtle signs of movement, small scratches along the walls, dust shifted slightly, as if something had recently passed. Connolly whispered, "It's alive down here. Something alive." Sparrow's eyes were wide behind his chalkboard. He hesitated, pencil hovering, and asked softly, "Do you think it can see us?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. The air felt thick with anticipation, each heartbeat amplified in the confined space. Briggs led us deeper, checking every corner, marking walls with subtle notches to guide our retreat. Thomas's lamp revealed uneven marks, grooves, and depressions repeating in patterns too precise for natural formation. The clatter beneath continued, closer now, echoing faintly through the stone floor. We came upon another fork. Left damp, low, seal-inged passage with strong metallic odor. Right descending more steeply, faint current brushing our faces. The soft tapping continued rhythmic, almost deliberate. Briggs studied both paths, then pointed to the right. Rope paid out behind us, taut. Every step was careful, measured, our boots stirring dust that whispered beneath. The slope forced us sideways, shoulders brushing against rough stone. The red residue in the trough seemed brighter, almost alive in the lamplight. 20 yards in, a chamber appeared. Ceiling higher than the last, shadows deep and impenetrable. Pale stone fragments scattered in corners, small, curved, dense. The low trough stretched across the floor, residue vivid red. Thomas crouched beside it, examining closer. Briggs knelt, running thumb along the residue. His face stiffened, eyes narrowing. He signaled retreat. We obeyed, carefully retracing steps, avoiding disturbance. Rope guided us back, taut and secure. Back in the lower chamber, Alvarez and Eli had shored up the entrance. Sparrow held chalkboard tight, sketches meticulous. Connolly remained alert, pick in hands, scanning shadows. Briggs gave precise commands: seal the passage, restrict knowledge to crew, no discussion outside. Ward brothers nodded silently. Alvarez turned, dusted sleeves, avoiding eye contact. The weight of what we had seen pressed heavily, unspoken, unresolved. We continued into the lower reaches, following depressions, drag marks, and subtle grooves. Air grew warmer and heavier with each step. The floor beneath our boots became smoother, polished in places, uneven in others, as if something had worked the stone deliberately. The soft clatter persisted intermittently, distant yet intimate, echoing through passages that seemed impossibly deep. Briggs maintained his calm, issuing short, sharp orders, each word carrying authority and warning. Passing the familiar chambers, we found slight changes. Stone piles in corners slightly shifted, residue darker, markings more pronounced. Something had moved while we were away. I swallowed hard. Connolly tightened grip on pick, eyes scanning every shadow. Thomas kept lamp steady, revealing shallow depressions forming trails across the floor. The pattern was deliberate, precise, yet alien. I felt the hairs on my neck rise. Sparrow's pencil flew across the board, capturing every detail in real time. A chamber opened, unusually tall, light barely reaching the ceiling. Floor smooth, scattered pale stones, broken fragments, some curved, others dense. The low trough ran from entrance to opposite wall, red residue vivid. Briggs motioned for caution. He inspected every detail, finger tracing shallow grooves. eyes scanning for anything out of place. Thomas crouched, examining markings. Drag marks more pronounced, intersecting previous impressions. The soft clatter beneath echoed faintly, steady, patient. Presence felt close, unseen, deliberate. We pressed deeper, descending into narrower passages. Rope taut, line tight. Shadows swallowed light, air thick and heavy. The pattern of grooves and depressions repeated, intersecting, diverging, deliberate. The tapping beneath continued, pairs of taps with long pauses. It was aware, patient, monitoring. Briggs signaled slow advance, every step calculated, methodical. Connolly whispered, voice barely audible, "We're not alone down here." I did not answer, chest tight, lungs burning with anticipation and fear. Another fork appeared. Left branch low, damp, metallic odor. Right steep, faint air current. Briggs chose right, paying rope taut. Each step forward heightened tension. Shadows danced as lamps flickered. Floor smooth, dust disturbed, faint scraping beneath our boots. Pale fragments scattered, arranged in corners, curved and dense. Low trough stretched across, red residue vivid, untouched. Soft clatter continued intermittently, echoing through stone. Presence unseen, patient, deliberate. We reached a chamber taller than any before, ceiling vanishing into darkness. Pale stone fragments scattered across floor. Low trough ran length, residue red, vivid, unsettling. Briggs motioned carefully, signaling inspection. Thomas leaned close, examining markings. Connolly crouched, pick ready. Sparrow recorded every detail meticulously. Drag marks and depressions repeated, intersected, deliberate. Soft clatter beneath echoed faintly, rhythmical. Air thick, oppressive, weight pressing down. Advance continued, careful, methodical measured. Rope taut behind us, guiding retreat if necessary. Chambers familiar, yet details shifted. Piles of stone moved, residue darker, markings more distinct. Something had moved unseen. Hairs on neck rose. Connolly tense, Thomas lamp steady. Sparrow's pencil captured every new detail. Soft clatter beneath persisted, distant yet intimate, echoing through passages impossibly deep. Briggs calm, issuing precise orders, authority clear, warning implicit. We followed depressions, drag marks, subtle grooves deeper into the ridge. Air thick, heavier. Floor smooth, polished in places, uneven in others. Shadows swallowed light, irregular and alive. Soft clatter persisted, intermittent, distant but intimate. Briggs advanced steadily, issuing short commands, authority and caution combined. Connolly scanning shadows, Thomas steady with lamp. Sparrow recording meticulously, pencil flying across board. Presence felt closer, unseen, deliberate. Narrow passage widened into chamber tall, ceiling lost in darkness. Pale stone fragments scattered, low trough stretched across floor, red residue vivid, almost alive. Briggs motioned caution, examining grooves, depressions. Thomas crouched, inspecting carefully. Connolly tense, pick ready. Soft clatter beneath echoed rhythmically. Air oppressive, weight pressing down. Advance careful, rope taut, line tight. Chambers familiar, details shifting, stones moved, residue darker, markings pronounced. Presence unseen, patient, deliberate. Every step forward heightened tension, anticipation, dread. Shadows flickered with lamp light, floor uneven, debris scattered. Low trough stretched across chamber, residue vivid red. Soft clatter beneath continued, rhythmic, monitoring. Briggs calm, precise, issuing short orders. Connolly scanning, pick ready. Thomas steady, lamp illuminating every groove, depression, drag mark. Sparrow recording meticulously. Presence close, unseen, deliberate, aware of our intrusion, patient, calculating, omnipresent. We moved deeper into the ridge, the air heavier and more oppressive with every step. Rope stretched taut behind us, guiding retreat, a lifeline through the shadowed passages. The soft clatter beneath continued. Pairs of taps with long pauses, steady, patient, deliberate. Each echo traveled through the stone, vibrating against our boots and hands, sending a chill up my spine. Connolly's eyes scanned every shadow. Thomas held his lamp steady, revealing grooves, depressions, and drag marks on the floor, repeating in patterns too precise for natural formation. Sparrow's pencil scratched furiously, capturing every detail of the walls, floor, and ceiling. We entered a chamber that stretched farther than any we had yet encountered. Its ceiling vanished into darkness, shadows pooling in corners where the lamplight could not reach. Pale stone fragments scattered across the floor, arranged almost consciously in corners, some curved, some dense. The low trough ran across the chamber, red residue vivid and alarming. Briggs motioned for silence. He knelt beside the trough, tracing the residue with his finger. His face stiffened as he lifted his hand. Thomas leaned close, examining markings, whispers of disbelief escaping his lips. Connolly crouched nearby, pick poised, eyes darting across shadows. The soft clatter beneath echoed faintly, in pairs, with deliberate pauses. The air pressed down heavy, damp, carrying the sour smell of stone and dust. Sparrow whispered, "It's closer, it's aware." I did not answer, only tightened my grip on the rope. Briggs motioned for us to move forward carefully, each step deliberate, measured. Every movement seemed magnified, the shadows alive, stretching, shifting, responding to our intrusion. We descended into a narrow passage, ceiling forcing us sideways, walls brushing our shoulders. Dust shifted beneath our boots, faint scratches appearing where none had been before. Drag marks intersected previous impressions, deliberate, patterned. The soft clatter beneath continued intermittently, now closer, echoing with a hollow resonance through the stone. Briggs led with caution, hand on coat where his pistol rested. Connolly whispered under his breath, voice tight, "It knows we're here." Thomas remained silent, lamp steady, illuminating every groove, depression, and irregularity in the floor. Sparrow's pencil flew across the chalkboard, capturing the detail with painstaking accuracy. We emerged into another chamber, taller, wider, shadows stretching into corners that lamps could not reach. The floor was smooth, broken stone fragments scattered in low piles, some curved, others dense. The low trough stretched across the room, residue still vivid red. Briggs motioned for us to halt. He crouched beside the trough, eyes scanning every inch. Thomas leaned in, tracing patterns, while Connolly scanned shadows for movement. The soft clatter beneath resumed in pairs with long pauses. Its rhythm deliberate, patient, almost taunting. We followed the trail of depressions, drag marks, and grooves into the deeper chamber. Pale fragments littered the floor, arranged in corners with uncanny regularity. The trough stretched across the length, residue vivid, alarming. Briggs signaled caution, inspecting every detail. Thomas crouched, studying patterns. Connolly remained tense, pick in hands. Ready. Sparrow recorded meticulously, pencil scratching across the board. The soft clatter beneath echoed faintly, rising and falling like a heartbeat, patient, deliberate, aware. At a fork in the passage, we paused. Left damp, low, metallic odor. Right steep, faint air current. Briggs chose the right path. Rope taut, line guiding our steps. Shadows shifted, dancing in lamplight. Floor smooth, dust disturbed. Pale fragments scattered. The low trough ran across the chamber, red residue vivid, almost alive. The soft clatter beneath persisted, rhythmical, deliberate. Presence unseen, patient, calculating, aware of our intrusion. We pressed deeper, passage narrowing, forcing sideways movement. Shadows stretched, lamplight flickering across walls. Pale stone fragments scattered across corners. Low trough stretched across floor, residue vivid red. Briggs led with calm precision, inspecting grooves, depressions, drag marks. Connolly remained tense, pick ready. Thomas steady with lamp. Sparrow recording meticulously. Soft clatter beneath echoed, pairs of taps with long pauses. Presence unseen, deliberate, patient. A sudden shift in air drew our attention. The faint current intensified, carrying a damp, sour odor. The floor beneath our boots felt uneven, polished in patches, ridged in others. Drag marks intersected previous impressions, forming deliberate patterns. Shadows danced unnaturally, stretching, shifting, responding to our movements. Briggs motioned silence, examining every detail. Thomas leaned close to inspect. Connolly crouched, pick ready. Sparrow's pencil flew across the board. The soft clatter beneath continued, closer now, echoing through stone passages that seemed impossibly deep. We entered a chamber taller than any before. Pale stone fragments scattered, lotro stretched across, residue vivid red. Shadows pooled in corners beyond lamplight. Briggs signaled caution. He knelt, inspecting every groove, drag mark, depression. Thomas leaned in, whispering observations. Connolly crouched, scanning for movement. Sparrow recorded every detail, eyes wide, hands steady. The soft clatter beneath echoed rhythmically. Presence felt close, deliberate, aware, patient. Advance continued, careful, methodical. Rope taut, line guiding retreat. Chambers familiar, yet details shifted. Stone piles moved, residue darker, markings more pronounced. Something had moved unseen. Hairs rose on necks. Connolly tense, Thomas lamp steady. Sparrow meticulous. Soft clatter beneath persisted, distant yet intimate, echoing through passages impossibly deep. Briggs calm, precise, issuing short orders. Authority clear, warning implicit. We followed depressions, drag marks, subtle grooves deeper, air thick, heavier. Floor smooth, polished, uneven. Shadows swallowed light, irregular and alive. Soft clatter persisted intermittently, distant yet intimate. Briggs advanced, issuing short, sharp commands. Connolly scanning shadows, Thomas steady with lamp. Sparrow recording meticulously. Presence close, unseen, deliberate, aware. We reached another fork. Left low, damp, metallic smell. Right steep, faint air current. Briggs chose right. Rope taut, guiding retreat. Shadows alive, dancing with lamp flicker. Floor smooth, dust disturbed. Faint scratches beneath boots. Pale fragments scattered, arranged consciously. Lotro stretched across chamber, red residue vivid. Soft clatter beneath continued, rhythmic, deliberate. Presence unseen, patient monitoring. Chamber beyond fork taller than any before. Pale fragments scattered, lotro vivid red. Shadows pooled in corners unreachable by lamp. Briggs signaled halt, inspected grooves, depressions, drag marks. Thomas leaned in, examining patterns. Connolly tense, pick ready. Sparrow meticulous. Soft clatter beneath echoed rhythmically, pairs of taps with pauses. Air oppressive, weight pressing down. Advance careful, rope taut, line tight. Chambers familiar, details shifting. Stones moved, residue darker, markings pronounced. Presence unseen, deliberate, aware. Each step forward heightened tension, anticipation, dread. Shadows flickered with lamp light. Floor uneven, debris scattered. Lotro across chamber, residue vivid red. Soft clatter beneath continued, rhythmic monitoring. Briggs calm, issuing precise orders. Connolly scanning, pick ready. Thomas steady, lamp illuminating every groove, depression, drag mark. Sparrow recording meticulously. Presence close, unseen, deliberate, aware of our intrusion, patient, calculating, omnipresent. We moved through the passage, each step slower than the last, weighted by the knowledge of what had been left behind in the lower chambers. Rope taut behind us, guiding retreat, a lifeline through the deep darkness. Shadows stretched unnaturally, swallowing the lamplight, pooling in corners. Pale stone fragments littered the floor, scattered with deliberate irregularity. The lotro stretched across the chamber, red residue stark against the pale earth. The air was heavier here, damp, sour, oppressive, carrying the weight of ages. Briggs led with precision, issuing short, calm orders. Connolly crouched, pick in hand, scanning shadows with sharp focus. Thomas held the lamp steadily, illuminating every groove, depression, and drag mark. Sparrow's pencil scratched across the board, capturing details with meticulous care. The soft clatter beneath continued, pairs of taps with long pauses, deliberate, patient, measured. Presence unseen, aware, monitoring our intrusion. The passage narrowed suddenly, forcing sideways movement. Dust shifted beneath our boots, faint scratches appearing where none had been before. Drag marks intersected previous impressions, forming patterns too precise for natural origin. Shadows danced and stretched unnaturally with the flicker of lamps. Briggs signaled for silence, crouching low to inspect the floor. Thomas leaned in, whispering observations. Connolly tense. Pick ready. Sparrow recorded every detail, eyes wide, hands steady. The soft clatter beneath persisted, echoing through stone like a heartbeat, patient and deliberate. We emerged into a chamber taller and wider than any before. Its ceiling disappeared into darkness, shadows pooling in unreachable corners. Pale fragments scattered across the floor, arranged in intentional clusters. The low trough stretched across the center, red residue vivid, alarming. Briggs signaled halt, inspecting every groove, drag mark, depression, and fragment. Thomas leaned close, murmuring notes. Connolly crouched, scanning for movement. Sparrow recorded meticulously. Soft clatter beneath echoed, pairs of taps with long pauses, deliberate, aware. Advance continued, careful and methodical. Rope taut, line guiding every step. Chambers familiar, yet details shifted subtly, stone piles moved. Residue darker, markings more pronounced, as if someone, or something, had been active while we were elsewhere. Shadows stretched, shifted, responding to our intrusion. Briggs maintained calm authority, issuing precise commands. Connolly remained tense, pick ready. Thomas steady, lamp illuminating every groove and depression. Sparrow meticulous, recording every detail. Soft clatter beneath persisted, echoing through stone like a patient heartbeat, presence unseen, deliberate, omnipresent. We reached a narrow fork. Left low, damp, metallic smell. Right. Steeper, faint air current. Briggs chose the right path. Rope taut, guiding retreat. Shadows alive, dancing unnaturally with lamp flicker. Floor smooth, dust disturbed. Faint scratches beneath boots. Pale fragments scattered, arranged consciously. Low trough stretched across chamber, red residue vivid. Soft clatter beneath persisted, rhythmic, deliberate, monitoring. Presence unseen, patient aware. The chamber beyond the fork opened wider than any before, ceiling lost in shadow. Pale fragments scattered in corners. Low trove across chamber vivid red, alarming. Shadows pooled in corners unreachable by lamp. Briggs signaled halt, inspecting every detail. Thomas crouched, tracing patterns, whispering observations. Connolly tense, pick ready. Sparrow recorded meticulously. Soft clatter beneath echoed rhythmically, pairs of taps with pauses, persistent. Air oppressive, weight pressing down. Advance careful, rope taut, line tight. Chambers familiar, details shifting, stones moved. Residue darker, markings pronounced. Presence unseen, deliberate, aware of intrusion, patient, omnipresent. We continued slowly, every step deliberate. Rope taut, guiding retreat. Dust shifted under boots, subtle scratches appearing anew. Drag marks intersected old impressions, forming precise, deliberate patterns. Shadows danced unnaturally. Briggs signaled caution, inspecting floor. Thomas leaned close, whispering observations. Connolly crouched, pick ready. Sparrow meticulous. Soft clatter beneath persisted, echoing through stone like a heartbeat, patient, deliberate. Presence unseen, monitoring, aware. A sudden change in air drew attention. Faint current intensified, carrying damp, sour odor. Floor beneath boots uneven, polished in patches, ridged in others. A drag marks intersected previous impressions, patterns deliberate. Shadows shifted, stretching, responding to movements. Briggs signaled silence, examining every detail. Thomas leaned in, examining closely. Connolly crouched, pick ready. Sparrow's pencil flew across the board. Soft clatter beneath continued, echoing through stone passages impossibly deep. We entered a chamber taller than any yet. Pale stone fragments scattered, low trough vivid red. Shadows pooled in corners beyond lamplight. Briggs signaled caution. Inspected grooves, depressions, drag marks. Thomas leaned close, whispering. Connolly tense, pick ready. Sparrow meticulous. Soft clatter beneath echoed, rhythmic, deliberate, pairs of taps with long pauses. Air oppressive, weight pressing down. Advance careful, rope taut, line tight. Chambers familiar, yet details shifted, stones moved, residue darker, markings pronounced. Presence unseen, deliberate, aware, patient, omnipresent. Each step heightened tension, anticipation, dread. Shadows flickered with lamplight. Floor uneven, debris scattered. Low trough across chamber, residue vivid red. Soft clatter beneath persisted, rhythmic, monitoring. Briggs calm, precise, issuing short commands. Connolly scanning, pick ready. Thomas steady, lamp illuminating every groove, depression, drag mark. Sparrow recording meticulously. Presence close, unseen, deliberate, aware of our intrusion, patient, calculating, omnipresent. At last, we reached the furthest chamber. Ceiling vanished into darkness, shadows deep. Low trough across floor, residue red, vivid, alarming. Pale fragments scattered, arranged in deliberate clusters. The soft clatter beneath came once more, pairs of taps, deliberate, patient, final. Air thick, heavy, oppressive. Briggs motioned silence, examining every groove, depression, drag mark, fragment. Thomas leaned in, whispering observations. Connolly tense, pick ready. Sparrow recorded every detail. Presence unseen, deliberate, aware, omnipresent. Briggs made a decision. The passage beyond would be sealed until the survey team arrived. Rope anchored, chambers noted meticulously. Every groove, depression, drag mark, residue, and fragment documented. Shadows remained, deep and alive. Soft clatter beneath faded, distant, final. We retraced our steps carefully, rope guiding, lamps steady. Chambers familiar, details shifting subtly as we passed. Presence unseen, deliberate, aware, patient. We emerged into the daylight. The ridge behind us looked ordinary, but the weight it carried was immense. Camp lay quiet. Men looked with questions, unspoken, uncertain. Briggs closed the chapter on our intrusion, sealing the passages temporarily until proper surveyors arrived. Shadows lingered in our minds, soft clatter echoing faintly, warning, patient, deliberate. Pale stone, red residue, grooves, drag marks, and low troughs would remain. Presence unseen, aware, omnipresent. Our intrusion ended, but its memory remained.